Welcome back to the channel. We're out here at the Air Force Armament Museum, and I figure what better way to start the video than in front of one of my favorite military planes ever, SR-71 Blackbird. I've studied a lot of the history on this plane, and it's really cool to see one in person. Given the nature of my job, I found the research that was done on it fascinating and how they kept it all secret. Let's take a look at it. Now, I actually work with a guy that was stationed at a base that flew these planes. And they took off, they leaked like a sieve, and had to go up and immediately refuel just because the airframe stretched out so much that it couldn't possibly hold a full payload of fuel while it was still on the ground. Very, very sleek plane indeed. And just look at the size of these engines they had. Not a whole lot of room in the cockpit there. And here we got a B-52 Stratofortress. Big plane for sure. And you know when you see wheels like this on a plane, it's going to be carrying some payload for sure. Just look at the mass of these wheels. And you even got some wheels on the outside here. And you really got to have a lot of respect for the guys that flew these kind of planes, or any planes for that matter, but especially these big planes. It takes a lot of skill to fly something like that. Not that I'm a pilot, but I would imagine that it does. We got an EOD vehicle. Let's check this out. I wonder if any of these are available on the surplus market. Wouldn't mind having me one of those. XM800.
Tank with wheels.
Yeah, I think that could stand a few blasts.
Oh yeah.
Just to give you a little perspective on the size of the wheels on this thing, I'm standing up, 5'3", and I can rest my arm right here. This is a big tire.
They shellac the tires to make them last.
I'm no mechanical engineer or anything, but this looks rather complicated.
And this is an older one.
And this is old technology. Yeah. Warning. Lethal voltage. Not high voltage, lethal voltage.
They smoke real bad.
F4 Phantom. Classic looking plane. Sweet looking plane for sure.
1,400 miles an hour, Matt.
1,400 miles an hour. Now this plane here, the O2A Skymaster, when we visited last year, I thought this was one of the more unique planes in the collection here, out of a lot of the unique planes they have. For one, it's twin engine. You get an engine right here, and you get another one back here. But what this one was mainly used for, psychological warfare. That's always pretty cool. Well, maybe not. I think it's cool. But they would distribute like leaflets, paper leaflets over the enemy, and they had loudspeakers mounted under the wings as well to send out radio messages or voice messages to the people below. Now we're getting back here to some cool jets. This is a F-104 Starfighter. A little bit of a smaller fighter jet, you could say. Not much in the wing department, but with big engines like that, you can overcome that if you need to. Here we got a bigger jet. This one is a JF-101 long-range bomber escort plane.
That one only did 920.
F-100C Super Sabre. This was the United States Air Force first operational aircraft capable of flying faster than the speed of sound in level flight. That's something to be proud of. Did it in 1953. F-89. Pretty cool looking plane. F-86. F-84 Thunderstreak. Love the intakes on these old vintage jets like this. So the pilot's basically just sitting on top of the engine. Now this one's pretty cool. Check out the trailer type vehicle that was used to put it in place. It's called a Mace Missile. Look at the tires on this thing. We got a T-33. Check out the sticker on this, the decal right here. I thought this was pretty cool. Almost kind of reminds me of some Grateful Dead stuff with the lightning bolt and the skeleton there.
Unusual looking nose.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
And if you've seen any Vietnam movie, you know what this is. It's a Huey Helicopter, UH-1. It's got that iconic Vietnam era styling. Good looking helicopter, I think. And here's an F-4 Phantom. Another classic Vietnam jet. Real sleek looking. And here we go. Here we're getting into some
F-15 Eagle. I thought it was a little
Top
different.
Gun kind of stuff.
The Tomcat's a little wider and bigger.
Yeah.
This is an F-15.
F-15. 1875 mile per hour max speed. Or so they tell us.
3,450 range.
This thing will go a good ways. So I mentioned that this plane here was like some Top Gun kind of stuff. This one predates Top Gun a little bit. Not quite that recent. F-16 right here. Massive amounts of thrust coming out of the rear end of this thing. Crazy fast. AC-130 gunship here.
Gotta be what they're doing.
Yeah.
Guns on both sides.
You would not want to be having this thing fly over you, for sure. And what would a Tennessee map video be without a few guns?
Man, boy, that would have been drawn perfect, man. Right there.
Here's a gun that's gotten a bit of press on YouTube, the Bushmaster arm pistol. And we get the M9, 1911s. All kinds of good stuff in here. And here's a few foreign guns. Get some AKs, Uzi, Sten guns. Here's a pretty cool belt-fed gun, 1919 Browning. I work with a guy that has a Class 3 license and owns one of those. Pretty cool gun to shoot.
Smoothbore gun and fire control is no match for Israeli tanks with their 105mm.
437. That's pretty good for a
42,000 feet.
So here's something I have a little familiarity with. Fat Man, one of the first atomic bombs developed in the Manhattan Project.
Have no soul.